The 30th anniversary of the ADA is cause for joyous celebration. It is the evolution of an idea and a revolution of action that's brought opportunities for a group of American citizens who have been discriminated against for far too long. It has opened the door to equal access to employment, services, entertainment to people with disabilities. I think the ADA was a natural result of the Education for All bill. Our nation's history of providing free public school education inspired an educated population to seek greater knowledge and explore a broader world and universe, invent new objects to live more comfortably and to write and perform in the various arts. The power of the public school education was expressed by the erstwhile governor of Alabama, George Wallace, who, while attempting to prohibit the integration of races in that state's schools, said, if you educate them, you can't control them. If you educate them, they'll turn on you.
Yeah.
Well, I think the ADA's message should be revisited yearly, perhaps, through the media or maybe through academia. Possibly instituting an annual award to a successful entrepreneur, entertainer, or someone in the arts who are individuals with disabilities who have achieved their goals. I think the list could include small businesses, corporations, or employers whose records show the successful employment of people with disabilities. All such awards should be allowed a natural death at the acceptance, the inclusion, when it becomes solidly established into the country's population and the country's fabric. Anytime we have an effort to bring people with disabilities into a system, we sometimes exploit them, use them for fundraising, and I think that's not what we should be aiming for. Once we establish the person's entry into these systems, back off, because now they're in the system. Well, we kept our children at home and didn't put them in institutions. Secondly, we clamored for services. We went to our local schools and tried to enroll our children. And when we started our little basement schools, that put the children in the community. And so once they were in the basement schools, we started demanding other services. We went to the school board, and then we began to realize that we had to have a piece of legislation. I formed a speakers panel, and it consisted of Cecile Lindquist, Evelyn Chapman, Katie Dolan, and myself, and eventually Bill Dussault and George Bragg. People would say, well, why should my tax dollars, why should my tax money go toward teaching children who can't learn? And first of all, I would say, well, I pay taxes, and everybody on this panel pays taxes and have been for years, and we pay taxes to support your children in school. And because we think that's what's good for the community. I think that's why when we began to keep our children at home and they had the opportunity to go to a school and learn structure, that's what made the difference. People began to look at them as people, not as discarded, people who had nothing in their futures. It was a evolution. The idea was an evolution, and then it became, frankly, a revolution. people exploiting people with disabilities for their own gain. You know, I get calls all the time, the scam calls, and they're still out there. The people are out there. Sometimes religious groups, I noticed, will take advantage of that system of trying to make a little money. They try to portray our people as pathetic, which we shouldn't tolerate. We should also remember that all of us at some point in our lives, every single one of us, will be disabled, sometimes for a short time, sometimes for a longer period of time. And you have to watch the politics. There's no question about that. You must watch what's happening in the political world. I think the entry into the arts has been a real accomplishment. You know, we have our people with disabilities who are stars, movie stars. I love that. That's a great step forward. Uh, I keep reading stories about entrepreneurs, people with disabilities, sometimes rather severe disabilities, who are owners of their own businesses. I think it's enough for now. I mean, I don't see any reason for simply creating a whole bunch of legislation unless we know exactly what we're aiming for, what our goals are. But for now, I think it's enough. But that monitoring part, I think, is important, is to keep an eye on that at all times. You know, again, don't let it be watered down, but monitor it. If it needs to be changed, let us change it. If it needs to have something added to it, let us add something to it. But having a whole lot of legislation is not going to necessarily make things any better. Just what we want is quality. I don't think quantity is the answer to it, but quality. And that means that more of us in our field should be running for office. I would urge people to start contemplating the award system so that every year we could have some attention to the accomplishments of our various individuals with disabilities. Inclusion benefits everyone, and I'm proud to say it.